What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Commander video. This time I'm here today to talk about my picks for the 5 cards to add and the 5 cards to cut out of the Innistrad Crimson Vow Precon deck Spirit Squadron. This is the blue-white Spirit Tribal deck. That's the whole focus here, just getting a ton of Spirit support, and of course, a small sub-theme of auras and enchantments. So my focus for the video is no doubt going to be around the primary commander option, Millicent Restless Revenant. She's just so much better than the alternatives. I mean, those can be fun commander options, but for her in general, you just get everything you want in a spirit deck. You get more support, you get good cost reduction. It's very appealing. If you like maintaining a board presence, this is the Precon for you. Before I get into the video, first I would like to remind you that most of you who are watching are not actually subscribed to the channel. Please do so, it does help me out quite a bit with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you want to support the channel, why not become a channel member? So let's start it off here with the 5th card to cut, Kami of the Crescent Moon. No doubt this was included just because it's a spirit. We get that all the time in Precon decks. If it's a good stuff card that just happens to synergize in the most trivial way, it'll be included. And Kami of the Crescent Moon's not a bad spirit, not a bad card in Commander. It's just not really necessary for a spirit tribal deck. It would be like playing Howling Mine. Howling Mine's not a bad card, but if you don't have a way to abuse it, what's the point in playing it? You're giving symmetrical card draw to everyone else. And I don't play cards to break even, I play cards to get ahead. There are a ton of blue and white spirits to choose from that actually will help out a spirit token tribal deck. Heck, there are even spirits that just offer better abilities overall, so it doesn't even necessarily have to synergize with the tribal theme, so long as it actually offers something useful to a one-sided strategy that's not trying to play group hug or anything. The number 5 card to add to the Precon is March of Souls. I love any type of utility card that does offer some synergy for your tribe, and March of Souls isn't just a board wipe, of course, it's a way to get a ton of spirits out on the battlefield. This is symmetrical, you are offering those spirit tokens to your opponents for each creature they have that's destroyed. However, our commander already kind of has this ability, but for our non-token spirits, if they die, we get a spirit, so if we decide to board wipe, guess what? We're gonna end up with more spirits, more often than not, than our opponents. Of course, there are better board wipes you can play that just destroy creatures like Vanquish the Horde, but if we're just talking about flavor, if we're talking about not only destroying all creatures, but also making it pretty easy to just replay our commander because she has good cost reduction for our spirits, this might be situationally better. And then the number 4 card to cut is Mentor of the Meek. Not a bad card at all to play, but of course, what's holding it back is that it's not a spirit. This deck's all about spirits. This deck is all about value off of spirits. And yes, you can pay 1 mana for each spirit that enters the battlefield if it's a token. Those are pretty much guaranteed to be power 2 or less. You're going to end up with plenty of card draw. However, it's not difficult to find good card draw while also synergizing with your tribe. Something like this always sticks out like a sore thumb whenever you play a non-tribe creature in that tribal deck. It's usually one of the first things to go. Any creature that's not with the tribe is usually going to be excluded. And the number 4 card to add is Kira Great Glass Spinner. I think a lot of the best tribal synergy spirits were already included in the Precon, so that's a big bonus going into this deck, is that you're not really missing the fundamental strength of the tribe. Most of the best tribal cards like Drogskull Captain got reprinted in the deck, and you offer yet another line of protection for all of your creatures. I remember when Kira used to be a way more expensive card, but ever since it's been reprinted a couple times, it's now made it closer to around a $5 card, so definitely an inclusion to this deck. Tribal decks don't tend to be that competitive, so you need some type of line of protection. And the number 3 card to cut is Boreas Charger. You don't have to go for creature ramp if you don't need to. And I think for this type of deck, you just lean into the artifact ramp. You have a lot of good spirits that could get you card draw, so you can draw into lands. Boreas Charger's great, but it's not really guaranteed ramp. So if you're at a certain point in the game where everyone kind of has the same number of lands, and then Boreas Charger leaves, you're kind of out of luck. And also it's a leaves the battlefield trigger, so you need to get that off first. Not really the type of deck that would capitalize off of sacrificing. So just lean on the artifact ramp. This is a combat-focused deck, so play something like Sword of the Animist. You're probably not going to find a lot of spirits that help you ramp, but just look to the artifacts and you'll be fine. I said this with vampires, I can't stress this enough. Just lean into the tribe, don't play any of these off-tribe creatures. And the number 3 card to add is Coat of Arms. I've always looked to add Coat of Arms into any kind of tribal deck I make, but that pretty much goes double for any type of tribe that has this evasion. Like, most of the spirits in the deck are going to be flying spirits. So if you can guarantee that pretty much all the creatures on your board are flying, and you give them +1/+1 for each other creature on the board with that type, you'll probably just be able to beat players one after another. You're going to maintain a board presence, and it's going to be pretty scary with something like Coat of Arms. The number 2 card to cut is Knight of the White Orchid. Again, there is better ramp if you are looking to synergize with a tribe. I'm not saying that these are bad cards, it's just because they're not spirits, they stick out like a sore thumb. Everything I said about Boreas Charger is pretty much true with Knight of the White Orchid. The one thing Boreas Charger has going for it is that it's still a flyer, so it at least offers you some strength in combat to go along with the rest of your evasion. Here you have a 2/2 for 2 that might get you a land if you're behind in lands. To me, that's not enough to leave it in here. Save some of these cards for another deck that you're building. The number 2 card to add is Anointed Procession. This is kind of a no-brainer. The deck is all about making spirit tokens, rewarding you with these tokens if you deal combat damage, or if your non-token spirits die. So why not just get double? Really makes your strategy more aggressive. I mean, I think we all know how often games just explode if you have some type of token doubler, +1/+1 counter doubler. It can help out your combos, whatever you're looking to do. Anointed Procession is one of the strongest catalysts in this kind of deck. And then the number 1 card to cut for the Spirit Squadron Precon deck is Custodysquire. It is a spirit, it has that going for it, and Will of the Council is a trigger that I love, you know, going back to the first Conspiracy set, but what you get here, first of all, you leave it up to your opponent what card you're able to bring back, and even if it's the card that you want back, you just get it back to your hand, and this is all for 5 mana. So you would want an ability like this for 3 or less, you wouldn't want to have to pay 5 mana. And you know what else is 5 mana that's a lot better than just getting a random card back from your graveyard to your hand? Karmic Guide. Karmic Guide is a great spirit. Karmic Guide comes in the Precon deck. Karmic Guide's a better card than Custodysquire. I rest my case. And the number 1 card to add for Spirit Squadron is Kindred Discovery. I was talking about Kami of the Crescent Moon and Mentor of the Meek. You have a lot of potential here because you have a way of constantly getting these spirit tokens to benefit off of something like Kindred Discovery. So you just choose spirits, and each time you have one of those spirit tokens, it's going to be often, enter the battlefield, you'll get to draw a card for each one of them. Since that's likely going to be just about every turn, you're going to be drawing a ton of extra cards. There are some other Coastal Piracy effects where you're able to draw cards off of dealing combat damage, and you also have those as options if you want to include them. If there's anything that I recommend more than any other way of drawing cards, it's this one. Skull Clamp is great, but you're not always guaranteed to just have 1/1 spirits. You might lock yourself out of that one by making them 2/2s with the anthems, so you get crazy card draw, you get reliable card draw that you're probably just going to win the game off of if you get to draw that many. So anyway, let me know what you think about these 5 cards to add and the 5 cards to cut from the Spirit Squadron Precon deck for Innistrad Crimson Vow. Let me know if some of your favorite cards to add, what you think would be great to take out. My channel's pretty much just a place for you guys to talk about this stuff, give each other some advice. Anyway, I will see you all next time. Commander Void here signing off. Have a good day.